Rain shimmered across the empty Manhattan street as a black SUV stopped in front of the luxury high-rise. The clock had just struck midnight. From the car stepped a woman in a tailored suit, heels clicking sharply on the marble walkway. Her presence was calm, confident, the kind that turned heads. But before she could reach the glass doors, a tall doorman moved into her path. "Residents only," he said flatly, blocking her way. She lifted her key card, her voice even. "I live here," he smirked. Lightning flashed. The air went still. They had no idea who they were talking to. Her name was Arielle Carter, 34 years old, founder and CEO of NovaMind Technologies, one of the fastest-growing AI companies in the world. Just a decade earlier, she was coding on a second-hand laptop in a small Georgia apartment, dreaming of something bigger. Now, she sat on Forbes' list of top innovators, had investors from 3 continents, and owned a penthouse worth more than most people's lifetime earnings. To her, that penthouse wasn't just real estate. It was a symbol, proof that she had fought every doubt, every bias, every late night when people told her she didn't belong in boardrooms. She had worked for this, earned it, but as she stood outside her own building, soaked in the cold rain and facing 2 smirking men, her success meant nothing to them. Tonight all that power didn't matter. The doorman's smirk widened. "Nice try, ma'am." "Residents only," he repeated, his tone laced with mock courtesy. Arielle stayed composed. "I said I live here. Penthouse level." She held up her key card again. He didn't even look at it. "Sure you do," he said, folding his arms. A second guard appeared, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Let me guess. Delivery? Cleaning service?" The insult hit harder than she expected, but she kept her chin high. "You're making a mistake," she said. They chuckled, exchanging glances. "We've heard that one before," one muttered. Arielle's patience thinned, but she wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing anger. She slipped her key card back into her purse, eyes steady. Inside, disbelief and quiet fury simmered. They didn't just doubt her, they erased her, as if women like her couldn't possibly own the top floor. The lobby's golden lights gleamed through the glass as residents began to notice. Some whispered, some looked away. A few watched with curious smiles, assuming a stranger was being caught trespassing. One of the guards moved closer, reaching for her arm. "Ma'am, we'll need you to step aside." Arielle's muscles tensed, but she didn't move. "Don't touch me." Still, they closed in, confident and careless. The humiliation burned deep, not from fear, but from recognition. She had seen this look before. Disbelief that someone like her could belong here. They saw a black woman in a designer suit, not the CEO who signed their company's monthly software contracts. And yet, she stayed silent. Her silence wasn't surrender. It was calculation. Behind those calm eyes, she was already deciding how to turn this moment into something they would never forget. Arielle breathed slowly, letting their laughter fade into the background. She had learned long ago that anger was easy. Control was power. She thought of her early days, when investors dismissed her as too young, too ambitious, or simply not what they expected. She had smiled through every insult, every patronizing comment, every locked door, and each one had taught her the same lesson. Never explain your worth to people committed to ignoring it. The old Arielle might have argued or shouted. The woman she'd become didn't need to. She straightened her shoulders, lifted her chin, and reached for her phone. Her reflection glimmered in the glass. Calm, unbothered, dangerous. They think they're in control, she thought, scrolling through her encrypted management dashboard. She didn't need to raise her voice. She only needed to make one call. Her thumb hovered over the screen before she tapped a single icon marked Property Control. Emergency Alert. Instantly, a signal flashed through Novamind's private network and into the real estate trust's central system. The company she secretly owned. In an office 2 blocks away, her assistant Maya saw the alert appear on her monitor. Owner interference, building ID 44A, priority 1. Within seconds, emails and phone lines lit up across the management division. Back at the high-rise, Ariana slipped her phone back into her purse. Her face gave nothing away. The guards were still smirking, unaware that their world was about to collapse. She glanced at her watch. "In 5 minutes," she murmured, barely audible over the rain. "Everything will change." And as thunder rolled above the skyline, the first phone in the lobby began to ring. The guards shifted uneasily as Ariana remained perfectly calm, her hands clasped behind her back. Something about her stillness unsettled them. No anger, no pleading, just silence. Then the lobby phone began to ring, once, twice, then again. The doorman ignored it, but the front desk supervisor hurried over, whispering urgently into the receiver. His face drained of color. Across town, Maya's voice came sharp and clear over the building manager's line. "Confirm immediate owner access. Ariana Cole, top shareholder. Building ID 44A. The manager froze, staring at the live system update that now displayed one title in bold letters. Majority owner. Ariana Cole. Within moments, multiple staff members were rushing toward the elevators, confusion turning to panic. The guards exchanged nervous glances, still trying to laugh it off. "She's bluffing," one muttered, but his voice trembled. Deep down, they both sensed it. This wasn't a bluff. It was a reckoning. The elevator chimed, and 2 executives stepped out, moving fast. Their expressions were ghostly pale. The taller one stopped short when he saw her. "Ms. Cole, ma'am, we had no idea you were on site." The room fell silent. The guards blinked, confused. "Wait, Miss Cole," one whispered. The shorter executive turned toward them, furious. "Do you have any idea who you've just disrespected?" he demanded. "She owns this building. In fact, she owns the company that owns every property you work in." The words dropped like thunder. Ariana said nothing. She simply met their eyes, expression unreadable. The executives fumbled over apologies, their voices cracking. "We're deeply sorry, Ms. Cole. There's been a terrible misunderstanding." But there was no misunderstanding, only arrogance. The guards' smirks faded, replaced by the cold realization of what they had done. For the first time that night, they were speechless. Ariana turned slowly to face the guards. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was steady, low, controlled, and final. "You're done. Effective immediately." The doorman stammered. "You can't just—" But an executive interrupted him. "Actually, she can. And she just did." The words echoed across the marble floor. The guards looked from one face to another, hoping someone would defend them. No one did. The same crowd that had watched in amusement now stood frozen, unsure where to look. Ariana's eyes softened, but her tone did not. "Respect is simple," she said. "You chose not to show it." One executive quietly made a call. Within seconds, new security officers were already on their way. The power had shifted entirely. No raised voice, no scene, just quiet authority. And for the first time, the lobby felt smaller, quieter, almost ashamed. Without another word, Ariana walked toward the elevator. Each step echoed through the stunned silence. Her key card beeped green, the light bright against the polished steel. The doors slid open. She turned slightly, meeting the crowd's eyes one last time. No anger, no triumph, just quiet certainty. As the elevator doors closed, the soft hum filled the lobby like a final note of judgment. 5 minutes. That's all it took. 5 minutes to go from laughter to fear, from mockery to respect. The reflection of her calm face vanished as the doors sealed shut. From the penthouse, the city stretched endlessly below, thousands of lights, millions of lives. Ariana set her bag down, removed her heels, and stood before the glass wall. The silence felt heavier now. Victory should have felt sweet, but it didn't. She thought about how many times she'd been doubted, how success never seemed to be enough to erase prejudice. She could build empires, yet still be questioned at her own front door. Her reflection in the window looked back at her, strong, tired, unbroken. Power, she realized, wasn't about revenge. It was about responsibility. Tomorrow, she'd make changes, training, accountability, respect. But tonight, she let herself breathe, steady and proud. She had turned humiliation into justice, and she had done it her way. By morning, the story had reached every corner of the company. Ariana didn't issue a statement. She issued change. New policies went out immediately. Mandatory diversity and inclusion training, a full review of all security contracts, and a zero-tolerance rule for discrimination at every property under her ownership. The news traveled fast, becoming a quiet lesson in leadership and accountability. No press releases, no interviews, just action. The staff who had witnessed the scene now spoke her name with respect. The building itself felt different, like it finally understood who truly owned not just the penthouse, but the power within it. Power isn't loud. It's knowing when silence speaks louder than shouting. Ariana's story isn't only about status, it's about dignity. Every person deserves to be seen for who they are, not what others assume. So ask yourself, what would you do if someone doubted your worth? Would you argue, or would you let your truth speak for you? Let this story be a reminder. Success means nothing if respect is missing. Until respect comes before judgment, stories like hers must be told and retold until they no longer need to be. Because real power